Right, tell hello. I want to thank you so much for joining me and give you a very warm welcome. Well, I hope everyone is doing well. I wanted to come on today and, kind of ramble on. It's going to be one of those weird kind of videos. I'm not going to be doing a spell. I'm not going to be sharing any secrets or anything like that. But, just to kind of hopefully put things in perspective. Now, I could have made a video. I could have gone to the Walmart or the Kroger or something and done a video and said, look at this empty shelf, look at that empty shelf. But the reality is you guys have probably are already experiencing that. And I hope it's better where you are. It's certainly not great in my area of the world, which is Nashville. Uh, I went so you're going to have to just forgive my rambling today. So, and just kind of bear with me. But I went early Friday morning. You guys know I wake up insanely early, and I go into ritual, and I do that absolutely every morning. I meditate, I go into ritual, I connect with my deities because particularly Hecate, gives me so much strength and has given so much to me and to other people. But, uh, I start my day at 3 um, and kind of go from there. So anyway, I had to have some work done on my vehicle. And so I went to the auto center. I mean, I opened the auto center, and so they took it in. They weren't really quite ready, but they took the vehicle in, and I said, well, I'm going to just, instead of sitting here waiting, I'm going to just, wander about. And that was Friday morning. That was before the national emergency was declared, which at that time when I went, I had no idea that one was there was a news press conference going to be called anyway. I had no idea. And so I'm wandering about and I'm looking at all of the empty shelves. And this was early Friday morning. And I'm like, well, maybe I need to get a few things, and my reality is that I stay, and you have to understand my mentality. I was a prepper 30 years ago, before the term prepper was a popular term. I've been And I guess that's my little secret. I'm a little hoarder. I am. I am a little hoarder. I keep it neat and tidy. I do. I keep it as neat and tidy as I can. But I am a food hoarder. And there's a reason for that. And I'll share that with you. And I hoard, not necessarily like Kleenex tissues, but toilet paper, absolutely. And the reason I hoard food, of course, you guys know I was born and raised on the Gulf Coast, and I mean, I'm used to a hurricane every every season, or more than one, and so I know, there's certain canned foods that you've just got to keep in your pantry, no matter what. I don't care if it's winter. I don't care. There's certain things that you keep in your pantry, and you rotate them out, you eat them and you rotate them out. And again, with toilet paper, that's not going to go bad. When I go to Costco, whether I need it or not, whether I need it or not, I buy a big, one of those big massive bundles of toilet paper, and that's been my reality. But where I came to food hoarding, of course, the hurricane, but I was in a very abusive, both physically and mentally, emotionally, relationship. Of course, this has been probably 40 some odd years ago. And I knew if I did not physically take myself out of the situation, no one else was going to do it for me, for one thing. Um, and I packed a bag. I mean, all I had was, a few t-shirts and a few pairs of pants. And basically I packed what I could. And I left the state. I went to a state that I didn't know a soul. I worked a few odd jobs, here and there to keep a roof over my head, one of those sleazy motels, and to keep, at least one meal a day in my gut. And there come a time where the jobs dried up, and I felt it was more important to keep a roof over my head, in which I did, but I really went hungry. And I'm not talking about, what time am I going to eat, or do I want it to be McDonald's, a can of soup, or something? It's if I'm going to eat. And I went very, very hungry, very hungry. Just absolutely starving. I finally, after I felt like I was safe enough to return back to the state that I left, um, when I returned, my parents saw me, and it was, I think for them, it was a shock, because they had never seen me so slim. And I had never really been that slim ever in my life. But from then on, I think it just put so much fear in me that, so much fear is built up inside of me that I don't ever want to be without food, a good supply of food, a good supply of toilet paper, although I think I could live without toilet paper. It might get ugly, but I could manage. But food, I can tell you, for me, it was a scary, scary situation. But I made it. But ever since then, and to come into my home, you would never know it because I don't have like cans of tuna lining up the walls or anything like that. But I did there's actually a small little closet where the water heater is. And I looked at that and I said, of course, my kitchen is incredibly small here and I have no storage here. And I looked and I said, oh my goodness, look at all this wasted space. So I put shelving all the way up to the ceiling. And I keep the door cracked. Of course, it doesn't get too incredibly warm in there, but I definitely keep a stocked pantry. And I do the same at the Hollow too. I had an extra cabinet here that I said, well, you know what? I'm just going to take, canned foods, canned meat, canned soups. And if I ever just have to make my way there, whether it be in a vehicle or on foot, yes, I could do it on foot. It would be tough, but I could do it because, you know what, I've done it before. I've had some really incredibly tough times, and if I had to hoof it up there, I could do it. But thankfully, which is, one reason why buying the Hollow for me was so important, because I always, if it ever hit the fan, so to speak, then I knew that I had a place paid cash for. There's no one except for the tax man, and you're not going to get away from the tax man, but would ever take that away from me. I would always have a place, whether it be a tent or just a tarp over me, which thankfully I have more, but I always have a place to go. If it ever gets bad, I always have a place to go, and I always have land that I can garden on and a little bit of food there. But, I hope you guys are doing really, really well. This, don't go out into a panic and, because I can tell you, I don't want it to get to the point, I really don't want it to get to the point where they start handing out ration books. And I actually do have a few of those too. That was some of my family's. And after my mom passed, I found them and I said, oh, wow, look at this. And you could see they had perforated little divots. One page is sugar and the other page is coffee, and different things like that. And I'm thinking, oh, and I'm thinking, I hope they don't start rationing us, because if everyone keeps this panic mode up, and that's what's going to happen. I can tell you, I really feel like that's what's going to happen. So don't panic, use what you have, and manage. Personally, myself, I am in self-imposed exile here. Now, I do have to go out tomorrow morning. I have to get my vehicle looked after, but I can guarantee you after that's done, unless I'm going to work, I'm not going anywhere. I'm absolutely not going anywhere. I'm absolutely totally stocked up on everything here. And I probably, honestly, if I didn't have to go out and go work, I could probably be here a good month or more and still be just fine and be absolutely just fine. Of course, this weekend, I have to tell you, this weekend was really interesting. I had a really hot date with my Mod Podge. Oh my gosh. Yes, I'm not kidding, you guys. I'm not kidding. I I know that you guys have seen this on haul video, and I think it said like it was painted actually, thankful and blessed or thankful and grateful. And like I said, it's not that I'm not thankful and grateful. I am just not the type of person that likes a bunch of words around my house. I don't need to go in my house and walk in the kitchen and go and see eat. I know to eat. So, but uh, and I tried sanding it off, and it just started smearing, and it made a big mess. And I said, I don't really want to go to the trouble of painting this because it's not really wood. It's like, I don't know, it's something, but it looks like wood here. But what I did is I got an image of the Green Man. And yeah, boy, I Mod Podged him on there. And I, of course, I went to the trouble of charring the edges so it just doesn't look square and kind of weird. But I got that done. And this morning I'm having a big date with a can of Cafe Du Monde coffee and chicory. And of course, you know, this takes me back to my childhood and where I grew up right outside of New Orleans. So I'm having a little bit of chicory this morning. And yes, absolutely, I'm stocked on my coffee because I know if I don't have my coffee, I mean, I could probably manage with tea, but things get ugly really, really quick if I don't have my coffee. And I got these wood slices. Let's see if I have some that are kind of unfinished to show you. And they were just, pale wood slices. And I started working on these because part of these are for ritual and part of these are for Beltane. I think these are going to be for a little thing that I'm going to be working on Beltane. And I haven't finished these, they're not finished. But I did a little bit of painting, and I did a little bit of painting on the other side. These, like I said, these are not quite finished. This one is just painted. I haven't put anything on it yet. But these are going to be for Beltane, and these are for ritual. And what I'm going to do, I'll show you guys in a minute. And what I'm going to do is I've got these for ritual. And then I've got a pentacle on the other side. I think you guys can see it. I hope there's not too much glare. I like this one. And again, these really aren't finished because they're not quite as dark as I wanted them to come out. And again, I haven't finished them on the other side, so I'm still kind of working on those. And I still got a long way to go with my Beltane things that I've got happening, but I'll show that to you guys later. But what I have done before, this is the first time I've done them on wood slices, and I just love how the bark is still here. But what I did for a friend is they had a coffee table. I hope they still have it. They have a coffee table that, I mean, it was really nothing special about it. And so what I did for them, because I think they were, at the time, I think they were kind of closeted. What I did is I took their coffee table back to my home, and I did the 4 quarters on each edge of the coffee table for them. And I sealed it to where, if they needed to wipe it down or whatever, it wouldn't smear or anything like that. And what I'm going to do And I know I showed this cabinet to you guys before, again, in one of my other haul videos. Again, me and Mod Podge, I told you guys I was going to do this. I did, and I don't want to get in any kind of copyright troubles here because I'm not really sure about these images. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to take, I'm actually going to inset this. You can see, I think you guys can see where. And so what I'm going to do in my witchy room at the hollow, I'm going to cut out studs and I'm going to set this flush into the wall. And what I'm going to do at that point, I will actually, the same quarters, I'm going to be doing it on the four, how, whichever way it is positioned in my room. So I can, put a little candle here, and it can be like maybe like an ancestral, like a small ancestral altar, or maybe one for my familials that are no longer with me, or something like that. But I think I'm going to do something like that. And I also have my other cabinet that I've also shared with you from a thrift haul, except it's really, really tall. And I did do the Mod Podge and a lot of the images on the back of it. I put the shelves back in, and I will be doing the four quarters on that. And I probably will be doing some pentacles on the back side, even though you won't see it. It offers that protection that a pentacle or pentagram, whatever. And I probably will be doing a few sigils as well. And again, it's going to be on the other side. You may not see it. You might see it. I don't know. Not really sure. But you can definitely tell that I've been homebound. I've been, busy. Uh, but don't panic. You guys, don't panic. If you're young, it'll be like, if you do catch the COVID-19, it's going to be just like a flu. And, just take care of yourself, stay home, take care of yourself as best as you can. And I mean, that's what I'm going to do. And if, I come down with it, then, I'll just know that my goddess will look after me one way or another. And that's just how it is. Now, as you guys know, a star is coming up, and I'm going to be actually videoing a very sweet, a very simple Ostar ritual strictly for solitaire. And I will be doing that video. And I thought about doing a video later today, and I wasn't really sure where to go with it. I don't know whether to, do like a healing spell, because I think I've done one before. So if you want to leave a comment about what you think I should do, I've got several. I was looking in my book of shadows, and I'm thinking, wow, did I really do that? Well, I must have. It's all written down, and it's all worded out, and everything that I need. And I'm like, and that particular one, spell to break a bad habit, is very lengthy. And I thought about doing that. But I certainly do hope you join me later this week for my Ostara ritual. And I hope you guys are all doing well. I'm going to close this out and say merry part, and I hope to marry me again. Stay healthy, and thank you so much for joining me. Bye, guys.